In the previous video, we just looked at how to work with the mouse in cocos2d using the underlying Pyglet library. And in this video, I'm just going to continue and I'm going to show you where we left off. So when we click on the UFO head, first of all, when we hover over the UFO head, the mouse cursor changes from an arrow to a hand. And when we click on it, here in the console prints out UFO head was clicked. And also we can drag the UFO head. But let me show you something. If I start to move my mouse a little bit fast, sooner or later I will lose, or the mouse will lose the UFO head. When I move slowly, it works perfectly, but so the first thing I'm going to solve is this little problem, and it has a very simple solution. So here in the init method for the sprite layer, I'm going to add a new variable, and it will be called clicked boolean, and it will start as false. So here, instead of printing out UFO head was clicked, I'm going to change the self that clicked or clicked equal to true. And I'm going to add an on mouse release event. So I'm going to the Pyglet's documentation, and here it is. I'm just going to copy these two lines, the on mouse release. So copy and add it here. And I'm going to add as a first argument the self, because we are in the class. And when the mouse is released, I'm going to set back the self that clicked to false. False. And now this clicked member variable will be true when the on mouse is pressed, and it will be false when the mouse is released. And here in the on mouse drag, instead of asking for the mouse on sprite function or method, for this method, I'm just going to delete this and replace it with the self that clicked. So when this is true, the sprite position will be changed to the mouse position X and Y. And now let's try it out. So now when I click, no matter how fast I move with my mouse, the sprite always follows the mouse pointer or the mouse cursor. And now in the second part of this video, I'm just going to show you how to change the mouse cursor to our own. I just created here in the res folder. I have two new images. First is the test01.png and the test02.png, and these are just some kind of crosshairs I created inside the online application called Piskel, yeah, which is a pixel art editor. So one is green, this crosshair, and the second is the this red crosshair. So every time when I'm going to hover over the UFO head, instead of loading or changing to a hand, it will change to that red crosshair, and when I don't hover over the UFO head, it will change to that green crosshair. So the most easiest way to load images is using Pyglet. So I'm going to use Pyglet for that. So I'm going to name it cursor or cursor, and it will be the cursor one, and Pyglet. First of all, we need to import Pyglet. Import Pyglet, and Pyglet that image that load, and from the res folder I'm going to import the test01.png, and I'm also going to set the image's anchor point. So cursor1 dot anchor x equal to the cursor1 dot width and integer division by 2, and also the anchor y is cursor1 dot height and integer division by 2. So, and I'm going to create a new, let's call it default cursor, and it will be the Pyglet that window that image mouse cursor, and this takes 3 arguments. First is the cursor one, and the X hotspot and the Y hotspot. So if you go to the image mouse cursor source code, here it is, hot X, which is an integer, X coordinate of the hotspot in the image relative to the image anchor, and hot Y, which is also an integer, Y coordinate of the hotspot in the image relative to the image anchor. So these are these 2 values, and the first value is of course the image itself. And the second image, I'm just going to copy all of these, and I'm going to load a second image, and I'm going to name it cursor 2. Here also cursor 2. Here cursor 2 that width, cursor 2 that anchor y, and I'm going to change this to attack cursor, and I'm going to create here an image mouse cursor from the cursor 2. And here when I load, I'm going to load the test02.png, which is this red PNG image. Its size is 32 by 32, and green's image size is also 32 by 32. So now that we have 2 custom image cursors here in the on mouse motion, for now the default arrow, the cursor is a default arrow, and if I hover over the UFO head, it changes to the hand. So I'm just going to here uncomment or comment out these two lines, and when the self that mouse on sprite is true, so which means we are hovering over the UFO head sprite, I'm going to change this to attack cursor, and else I'm going to change this to default cursor. So now let me see it, and as you see now we are using the green crosshair custom. We have a custom cursor, and when we hover over the UFO head, which let's say is an enemy, the cursor changes to red. Okay, so I think that's all what I wanted to show you about the mouse usage in Pyglet and Cocos. And I'm not sure what I'm going to cover in the next video, but probably using basic shaders inside Cocos. So until then, thanks for watching and have a nice day.